So with most modified cars, you can look at them and you can tell that this car's been modified. It's either got wheels, or it's lowered aggressively, or it's got a big exhaust. This car is a lot more subtle. This M3 doesn't have a lot of visual cues that it's been modified. It's got black wheels. But really the only thing that tells you right off the bat that it means business is the alignment. You can look at it and the thing has 2.8 degrees of negative camber in the front and like 1.9 in the back. You can visually see that this car has been set up to corner.
My name's Mike, and I drive a 2004 BMW M3. It really has become kind of a dual-duty vehicle. It's my daily driver. We take it on road trips, go to the beach, I strap a surfboard on top, but I also drive to VIR and swap out wheels, rotors and pads, and put on the racetrack. I've done 2 race schools with it, so I do have my competition license with the BMW CCA. My path has been to build this towards being a full-blown race car at some point, and it's about $6,000 in safety equipment away from being a race car, but there's also the expense of the trailer and the tow vehicle, so I'm a lot farther away than I'd like to be. Started with suspension stuff, polyurethane sway bar bushings front and rear. Rear trailing arm bushings are polyurethane, and my front control arm bushings are Delrin, just a real thin Delrin sleeves. And then as my factory shocks really started having a lot of body roll and sway, I upgraded to a really low-level, entry-level coilover set called ISC N1s, and they're pretty universal. I got the track valving for those. They definitely shine in the track environment, but they're a little harsh in cold weather sometimes on the street. I swap out for a set of track pads whenever I'm down at the track, but I also use leftover race pads on the street just because, you know, if you've got half a pad left or something that wouldn't make it through the weekend, might as well use it on the street, get a little extra bite.
What Mike has done with the suspension, with the brakes, with the tires, everything equals up to a more harsh ride, a less forgiving driving experience. So where somebody might putt around town and, you know, be nitpicking the fact that, you know, potholes try and break your back and the brakes squeak and the transmission, you know, doesn't really shift that quickly. When you're up here and you're just going for it, the suspension doesn't let you down. Gears are always right there when you need them. It shifts very quickly when you're giving it more throttle. The brakes bring you down really quickly, and they let you know when you're on them.
So when it comes to driving hard on the street versus driving hard on the track, I'm a big proponent of, you know, safety equipment on the track, but also being safe on the street. To go down to a track like VIR, Carolina Motorsports Park, Roebling Road, and put your car at the limit of its potential on the track. And then you get on 29 to drive home, and you put the speed limit on 65, and everything's just so mundane when you've just been going 120 through corners and 140 miles an hour on the straights and screeching tires and learning the edge of the control. What's in future for the car? Being a dedicated track car is going to mean roll cage, fire suppression system, electronic cutoff, you know, a steering wheel with a disconnect, obviously stripping everything down. It's not necessary. Proper up-to-date race seat and belts. You know, I've got better suspension to add to it, and I certainly have better driver mod to add to it. You know, I'm constantly learning. You know, the more you're in the circle and the deeper you get into it, the more you're humbled.
Having the S&D transmission in here, going through these back roads, I'm completely focused on the line and turning and throttling and braking, because I don't have to worry about shifting. I have both hands on the wheel at the same time.
I'm kind of not on board with the SMG because as convenient as it is, and as much as I get to keep my hands on the steering wheel, it feels like it's kind of belittling the ancient art of shifting the transmission. You know, that's another way for you to engage in the car. I would really like to have a clutch pedal. I would really like to be able to stir through the gears. You know, as much as convenient as the flappy pedals are. Now with the brakes are really loud and really squeaky, but they're loud and squeaky because they're doing their job. They're race pads. So while everyone may turn and look at you, you know, when you're coming up to a stop sign. I don't mind, you know, because it's not because the pad is low, it's just because the brakes work really well.
For me, I think the brakes are a compromise that I'm not willing to take. For a car that is built both for the track and for the road, if I'm driving around in the road with a car that can perform as well as this car can, I don't want everyone looking at me and wondering why my brakes are squeaking and giving me that negative attention, because the brakes are actually really good, and yet people are viewing them as if they're really bad, and that's negative attention towards an amazing car that I just don't want. However, the coilovers, on the other hand, are fantastic, and I love how stiff they are, because it's still comfortable to me. The seats have enough cushion in them that it's really not jarring to me. My head's not hitting the ceiling, and I can just whip the car around these corners like it's nothing. I'm really not breaking traction on just about any of these corners or getting near it.
I'm not a show car guy. It's gonna be dirty. I park on the street on a bus route. I cannot keep it clean to save my life. So if you see me, it's probably gonna be dirty, you know, but all that goes out the window when you're behind the wheel and you're just one with the driving experience.